What up, world? Established Rich coming right back at you. Memphis has always been tough, but what happened on September 7th, 2022 took it to a level nobody was ready for. Ezekiel Kelly, 19 years old, and he turned the city into his own personal hunting ground. 4 people dead, 3 more shot and wounded. And the craziest part, some of it was live streamed like it was for entertainment. People didn't just hear about it on the news, they watched it on their phones in real time. Imagine being at home scrolling and suddenly seeing a man killing people on live. This wasn't a movie. This wasn't a drill. This was Memphis under attack for almost 20 straight hours. This story is pure chaos. Police chasing, city locking down, people hiding inside, stores closed early, schools went into lockdown mode. Every stranger on the street looked like a threat. Every car driving past felt like a danger. Memphis felt like it was being held hostage, and the hostage taker was a teenager with a gun and a phone. Kelly carjacked multiple people, shot random citizens with no warning. He didn't care who you were, old, young, male, female. He just pulled the trigger. The motive? Nobody really knows. Even the district attorney said we may never understand why. And maybe that makes it worse, because senseless violence can't be logically explained. The live streams were a whole nother level of evil, because it wasn't just violence, it was performance. It was a man showing off his destruction, trying to terrify a city while chasing likes and shares. That's not poverty. That's not just upbringing. That's a choice to turn human life into content. The way people felt trapped in their own homes. The text to family, stay safe. The calls just to check and see if people were still alive. Everybody knew somebody on those streets. Everybody had fear in their voices. When a city stops moving, you know it's real. And Memphis froze on that day. Victims' families still carry that pain. 4 people never made it home. And the craziest part is that their lives were taken by a man who didn't even know them. No robbery motive, no personal beef, just pure random violence. That's why this story hits different, because you can avoid trouble sometimes, but how do you avoid random chaos? Memphis wasn't just grieving. Memphis was shaken to its core.
For the first time, Ezekiel Kelly displayed emotion during his guilty plea. He will be serving 3 life sentences on top of 221 years in prison.
You can't see yourself. You have lost yourself. Only way you can find yourself is through God.
It was this message from Aubrey Miller, the brother-in-law of Richard Clark, one of the victims in the 2022 shooting spree across Memphis caused by Ezekiel Kelly. Reality set in for Kelly, and tears began to fall.
I acknowledge that there's nothing I can say to him. He needed a victim for the victim family. But I believe that it's all about where do I go from here.
That's the satanic move that you want to go out there to do something wrong. Let's talk to him. Talk to him. Talk to the Lord.
Kelly pleaded guilty to all 28 counts. As part of his plea agreement, he received 3 life sentences with no parole, in addition to 221 years in prison. This is for the mass shooting he was involved in back in 2022, taking the lives of 3 people during a shooting spree while live on social media. As Kelly took the stand, he asked the victims' families and anyone he's hurt for forgiveness.
I also do feel a apology, but I know this not enough. It's not enough for the victim family. I hope one day in y'all life y'all come to the point where y'all find in y'all heart, forgive me.
Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy believes this plea deal represents justice. Mulroy says instead of the death penalty, the victims' families believe this plea agreement was the best step towards a resolution.
It meets their desire to have this over with, to be able to move on with their lives, and we also know that Mr. Kelly will spend the rest of his life in prison.
Kelly's attorney says although his client is going through a transformation within himself, he's challenging the juvenile system to provide resources for troubled youth.
These kids go through some horrific things, and I'm not sitting here giving any excuses for Mr. Kelly, but we've got a broken system and we've got a broken situation with our youth, and we need to do something about it.
Ezekiel Kelly pled guilty to 28 counts. First-degree murder, attempted murder, carjacking, possession of illegal weapons, even terrorism. The list was long because the Rampage was long. He got 3 life sentences back-to-back, plus 221 years on top. No parole, no second chances. Some people wanted the death penalty, but him taking the deal took that off the table. The victims' families agreed to it because they wanted closure and didn't want decades of appeals. And closure meant knowing this man would never walk free again. He will die in prison. The judge asked him if he understood, and he said, yes, sir. Kelly tried to apologize, said he was in a dark place. He said God found him in jail. He said that he didn't mean for it to go that far. But let's be real. You don't accidentally kill 4 people and stream it on live. Those are not dark place mistakes. Those are calculated decisions. Maybe he had mental health issues. Maybe drugs were involved. But none of that can erase the fact he chose to pick up that gun and unleash hell on Memphis. One victim's family member stood up in court and told him to give his life to Jesus. He cried, wiped his eyes, but tears don't erase that trauma. Apologies don't bring people back. The city is still healing and some scars never close. Now, what do we take from this horrific situation? First, early release can be deadly. This man should have never even been back on the streets. He was already charged before with attempted murder, but he got a lighter sentence, walked out, and went straight back to violence. The system failed Memphis, and Memphis paid the price. Second, live streams have changed crime forever. This wasn't just about killing, it was about having an audience. Criminals now want viral moments. They want to be seen, and that makes it even scarier because evil loves attention. When people can turn murder into content, the world is dealing with a whole new level of insanity. Third, poverty, upbringing, pain, they can all be factors, but they don't force your hand on the trigger. They don't make you live stream destruction. Plenty of people grew up in poverty. Plenty of people struggled with broken homes, but they didn't turn into mass shooters because at the end of the day, it's a choice, and Kelly chose the worst one. Lastly, Memphis won't forget. And neither should the rest of us. This wasn't just a news story. It was a city being terrorized. It was 4 families shattered forever. It was thousands hiding in fear. It was a reminder that safety is fragile and evil can appear in the form of a neighborhood kid with a gun. So what do we say now? We honor the victims. We don't glorify the killer. We don't make excuses for him. We just tell the story as it happened with raw honesty and respect for the lives that were lost, because Memphis will never be the same. And neither will anybody who lived through that 20-hour nightmare. Like, comment, subscribe, establish rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.